Hey guys, welcome back. This is Nova Nebula, aka Nova, your favorite. Welcome to my podcast. This is why I'm not invited. It's been an eventful past few weeks. There's been a lot of movement back and forth, but you know what? I'm grateful. I am definitely taking the time to see this as a half full cup situation because there's too much pessimism going on in the world right now for me to let that kind of bleed into my hobbies because again, running a dungeon is a hobby of mine and I fucking love it. I love it so much. So today's episode is going to be about being horribly uneducated in a dungeon and not reading a room. And I mean this because I've had a lot of events. I've had a lot of events. But recently, one of the upticks at my events are people that are just completely not interested in being educated in basically the dungeon that I've created and or being able to read the room or even trying to make an effort. And I'm kind of just fed up with it. Without further delay, let's get into it. If you've ever curated a dungeon or even just run a space for kink stuff, alternative lifestyle folks, you understand that there are going to be people that enter your space that they're not ignorant of the lifestyle. They definitely partake in the lifestyle. The lifestyle itself, the alternative lifestyle, is basically a really big umbrella term, and it encapsulates a whole bunch of different genres, and there's subgenres, and so on and so forth. And it's this big, giant community of just alternative lifestyle people. There is a lot of overlap in those lifestyles, and that's totally fine, right? That's not what the problem is. Here, the issues are that there are very specific types of men that call themselves swingers. They call themselves bulls, and they are into what they think the swinger lifestyle is, when realistically, they're not swingers. They are just uneducated, ignorant, low quality, less than mediocre men that are paying to go to these very particular types of parties, if you know what I mean. Yeah, every single party has a vibe and a theme. And if you want to go to something very specific, definitely reading like the flyers is going to be your biggest help. When you choose not to read the event or the description of the event, you're potentially setting yourself up for failure in many, many ways. My biggest issue with men like this is that they think not only that the rules don't apply to them necessarily, they assume that simply because they exist, they are granted access to people. Tonight, we're going to talk about those different types of men, or the most recent 3 men that I've encountered that are literally just garbage. Yes, garbage. It's a mix of venting and education and basically just trying to educate you guys on not how to act in public, because apparently we're still doing that as adults. I just want to start off and say that I am an adult, and everybody that comes to my space is an adult, right? My events are usually 21 and up. There'll be an occasional event where it'll be 18 and up, but I'm kind of moving away from that. I digress. Everyone that walks through those doors has their IDs checked, and I can guarantee you that many people are well beyond 21 and up. They're older. Totally fine, okay? I also understand that social situations, they can be pretty nerve-wracking. New places, new people, new experience. I get that. I completely understand social anxiety, and I know it's a thing. But we have to stop saying and using the word social anxiety as an excuse for poor mannerisms and poor behavior. You can absolutely have social anxiety, but you acting inappropriately, not reading the room, moving too hard into people too fast, and like just trying to bulldoze conversations to make yourself the center. This is obnoxious, inappropriate behavior, and it has nothing to do with social anxiety. It's literally your poor social skills and your privilege to basically be a man and overtake common spaces because of like the social economic environment that you live in. I am not at all saying that I don't want you to participate in conversations, because I do. I love community building. I love socialization. But there's a difference between joining a conversation and then thrusting yourself into the middle of the conversation and then controlling it, controlling the dialogue, and making yourself the forefront of what was happening before you got there and basically destroying the vibe and the original conversation that was happening. This is a huge problem and it needs to be addressed. I have had enough encounters recently that I realize if I wasn't in a kink space, it would probably be all over IG and like TikTok about how not to act in public. Part of it is cathartic, and a lot of it, unfortunately, it's educational for everybody besides the person that actually needs to learn personal growth from the situation that they're in. I've definitely learned a lot more becoming a event host over the years, and now that I have a bigger space, the vetting process is a little bit more complicated, and unfortunately, sometimes people slip through the cracks, right? Sometimes they come and they're great on paper, just like that applicant at your job. It seemed fine. Every single square box was checked on paper, and then they showed up. And when they showed up, it was ugly and absolutely not the person they pretended to be on that paper application. Even after hosting so many events, publishing consent and rules of consent in the waiver that is required by every single person to fill out prior to entering the space, I also put consent like in the event descriptions for a lot of the events. And when you come to the door, literally the doorman will tell you all about consent, our expectations. We'll ask you if you have any questions or need any kind of clarification for what we're talking about before we send you on your way. Despite all of my efforts to emphasize the heavy consent culture that I've created in my dungeon, people still fuck it up, and I'm just tired of it, right? At this point, I'm literally at a loss at what else I can do to get these men to realize basic human decency. It's written down. They had to read it. And we've also told them about it to their face. So at this point, they're just choosing to be woefully ignorant garbage instead of listening and thinking, hey, maybe what they are saying is super important and I should pay attention and listen. No, they don't. With that being said, some of these men, after all of the consent talks that we have before they even enter the dungeon, they still enter the space and they think that rules and consent and all of those things are optional and don't apply to them. And they cannot be more wrong. When they realize that they're wrong and that they are the problem, that's when they begin to flail. And I'm tired of throwing out life jackets. I'm tired of trying to offer these people who choose to be garbage assistance. And at this point, I'm kind of just letting them drown. Before I delve too deep into the men that have popped up in my dungeon lately, I want to reiterate that my dungeon is not just a play space. Yeah, absolutely. Play is allowed. BDSM is allowed. Super sex positive. Those things are okay. However, The space that I've created is not meant for play only. I have carefully created a place where I'm building a community. And that community is from all walks of the alternative lifestyle. BDSM, dominatrixes, dominants, bottoms, submissives, swingers, right? I want a place where everybody can come, feel welcomed, feel safe, and feel like they belong. But with that being said, community is the whole process of coming together and socializing and meeting each other, asking each other questions, becoming involved. People come to my place, they come to my space to connect. They want to explore, they want to engage other people and learn different parts of the lifestyle. Yes, there is play, but first and foremost, there is connection. Boundaries are posted everywhere. The rules, they're super clear and they're not changing. If anything, I'm adding more rules to ensure that my space is even safer. Respect is non-negotiable in my space. Everyone must be respectful and must be respected. It goes both ways. I am beside myself because I can't believe that these men still think that showing up means access to somebody else because they can. Presence is not equal access. Just because you show up does not mean that you are entitled to somebody's time, someone's play, or their attention. The first crazy ass entitled man that I'm going to talk about today, I wish I could give you his username, but honestly, he keeps changing it, which is part of the problem and one of the things I'm going to talk more about today. Essentially, the last part of his username ends up with the infamous number 88. He started by sending mass friend requests to everybody that was associated with my Dungeons event parties. So maybe I should rephrase that. When you go on the websites that I'm using, basically there's a list of people that choose to be involved and they choose to be on the page, right? This user guy with his 88 as a last part of the name literally went down the list and invited and sent friend requests to every single person. Not only did he send friend requests to everybody, he also sent several really weird, unnecessary, and creepy messages to all of the women and female presenting people associated with the space. It was basically a cut, copy, and paste situation. There was absolutely zero originality or effort. The messages were super vague and something like, "Hey, I sent you a friend request. We should totally hang out sometime. My girlfriend, wife, whatever, they're super cute and we would love to play." If this person actually wanted to make connections, they would have looked over the people's pages first. There's a lot of female and femme presenting volunteers that literally state on their page they don't meet strangers. They don't meet up and they don't sleep around, right? I'm monogamous. I'm in a monogamous relationship. I'm looking for a relationship. I'm not interested in meeting up with strangers. This man completely did not even read anyone's profiles and just sent that disgusting cut, copy, and paste message, thinking that using his wife was going to basically get him some play. Absolutely unacceptable. Fuck that guy. After this particular man sent so many random messages and friend requests to the community that helps me with my venue, they let me know. So I decided to be like, hey, I'm going to send this guy a message. His profile is super new. It was just created. Maybe he's having some issues. I am really interested in talking to people because sometimes, it's just the benefit of the doubt, right? I don't want to believe that people are choosing to be stupid and ignorant on purpose. So I take a shot. I send the message. So I was really polite in this message. I didn't want to give off rude vibes. I didn't want to just come off like an asshole for no reason. Because again, maybe he's just not smart. Maybe he really wants to make friends, right? That's what I want to believe. It quickly goes from bad to worse. I essentially said, hey, I see that you sent me this copy and paste message, and I wanted to let you know that, one, I will not be accepting your friend request, and two, it's really creepy and inappropriate to basically just go down a list of an event page and a volunteer page and just send out friend requests and then do the cut, copy, and paste thing for all like the femmes. Poor taste, super creepy. It's not doing what you think it is, right? Then suddenly I become the problem, right? Well, I'm new here. I'm just trying to explore. I'm just trying to find people to party with and have a good time. I don't understand why you're so offended by it. I'm new to the community and I'm just trying to reach out. People said that I should send friend requests. And at this point, I already know everything he's saying, everything that he's doing is complete bullshit. It's literally just a response to being called out on that behavior. Also, whether you like it or not, we're in a really huge political fuckball right now. And this man has the number 88 at the end of his username. In our private group chat, some of the other volunteers and members brought that up and mentioned it was very questionable and if I could verify our thoughts of him being a Nazi. So me being me, I'm like, absolutely. I will absolutely ask this man if he is a Nazi or a neo-Nazi, whatever term they prefer to be called nowadays. Who gives a shit? Nazis are Nazis, right? So I casually ask, hey, I noticed that there's the number 88 at the end of your username. Do you want to elaborate what that means? Oh, my gods. This was the end of the world for that man. He just told me it was a family tie, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I thought maybe it would have been like the year you were born, or maybe like a favorite jersey number of your favorite player. No, he just told me it was a family tie and kept reiterating that. Then he went on to challenge me and say, why are you so offended by the number 88? Do you get this defensive with everybody? Are you so offended by everything? It must be a sad world that you live in if you're just offended by, people expressing themselves. At this point, I told him to fuck off. Absolutely not. You're not going to gaslight me for being a Nazi. Are you kidding me? The fuck out of here with your bullshit. So, blocked immediately, but not before telling him he is not welcome at my events. Now, this is the kicker. This is where you think that this interaction is over and, block button, my clear communication of him not being welcome in my space, that would be enough. Well, we were wrong. Because this story doesn't just end here. It gets more complicated. It's important to note, if somebody shows you these types of red flags online, it's going to be even worse in real life in a social space. You're not able to just shrug this off. And this is where and why we have boundaries and rules, because it saves us from the mayhem that these people are going to try to cause. So remember, this man, he didn't just mass request people. He tried to justify it. He claimed he was trying to network, but in his opinion and his explanation of networking, he was really just trying to find random people to sleep with and have threesomes with without actually trying to make a connection. He ignored all of the profiles stating not to send friend requests if they had never met them in person. He ignored all of the profiles stating that they are not looking for any kind of sexual relationships or new partners. When I challenged him, he got defensive. Again, he accused me of being, quote unquote, weary of everyone. This is classic gaslighting. This behavior screams entitlement. Showing up, expecting access, and assuming your boundaries are a personal problem, absolutely unacceptable. When I didn't respond to this man the way that he wanted me to, he literally freaked out. I do a lot of social events and I do have a banned list, and I tend to put the name of the person that I've blocked into the banned list. Now, this is where this guy comes out and shows that he's literally a hot, flaming sack of dog shit. He actually came to one of my events. So, my events are posted, the address is posted in very particular places. Even after blocking him, what he did was basically use his girlfriend's account to figure out what happened. Or sorry, that's not the right word. He blocked me. I blocked him, thought it was the end of it. Apparently, he unblocked me. And lately, with the server I'm using, I've noticed that sometimes people that I've blocked, or we block each other, they're becoming unblocked. And this is where it's becoming an issue. He changed his username. He unblocked me. He went to my bingo event with his girlfriend with a brand new username. So when he filled out the waiver, because I didn't have access to his real name, I only had access to the current name that the first name that they were using on the website. I didn't know it was the same person. So he actually had the audacity to come to my events. It was Loteria, and honestly, I worked really hard on those Loteria cards, and they're pretty sick, so definitely come out and play that game, but I digress. He won, okay? Totally fine. Again, remind you, a lot of these people don't necessarily have their faces posted, or they have pictures of other people. So I had never seen this person before. I didn't have access to his real name. He changed his username and showed up to the event. He won. Totally fine. He didn't just take one prize. And I didn't find out until the next day when a friend of mine was like, hey, how many times did they win? And they won twice. We played 6 rounds. They won twice. Totally fine. They had like 4 or 5 prizes. He went to Loteria and then took more of his fair share because he wanted to. During the event, he was also really weird. Like, he was trying to shake everyone's hand. He was really loud and obnoxious. He definitely couldn't read the room and was taking his volume 5 or 6 decimals higher because he was trying to be the center of attention the entire time. He kept talking to me a lot and like telling me how cool I was and trying to feed me compliments. And when you start doing that right away, I know you're fake. Like, stop, don't butter me up. It's not going to work the way you think it is. And you look obnoxious if you're like basically kissing my ass the whole night. But anyways, I didn't realize what happened until later. I obviously blocked him again. I went back, blocked him, and I actually added his name to the list again under the original name. But this is completely absurd. This is a perfect example of how this man is a huge red flag because he lied about his username. He changed his username. He showed up, was absolutely trying to control the room, trying to be the center of attention. Coming to a venue after you've been told to fuck off is a really hard move. Had I known it was the same person, I literally would have never let him in and fought him in the parking lot. Hands down, 100%. Boundaries, they exist for a reason. Persistence does not equal permission. Screening attendees, checking profiles, observing behavior, for me, this is not optional. I put a lot of work into people that come to my events because I want everyone to be safe and to be comfortable. I never would have thought a man that I blocked and openly told not to come to my events would go through so much effort to do the name change, unblock, make a new profile, show up, and then try to be my best friend. I am disgusted. I don't know what to do. Like, I am still speechless to this day. I'm trying to keep my space safe, and this motherfucker just did a whole bunch of work and mental gymnastics, did things that I thought no one would ever do, and just showed up. But don't worry, now I have his information. He can never show up again. He's permanently blocked. I know his name. I know his face. He's not welcome back. But the fact that he went through so much effort to still come to my place after I told him no is insane. Literally insane. This is not okay. Motherfucker needs therapy and a psychiatrist. I definitely learned a lot from this crazy man. I try to look at everyone's photos now, which is really hard. There's a lot of people that RSVP to my events. And again, some people don't necessarily have photos of themselves up. So this is another problem that event organizers face, is that some people are really unhinged and they are going to go through a lot of effort to still show up, even though they know they're not allowed to show up. So if any of you out there run events or host events, if you can give me some advice or some feedback, if this has ever happened to you. And again, I never thought that this would happen, and it happened. I am doing everything that I can to ensure that my space is a safe space, and I'm going to continue to do that. I just never thought I would be met with literally a psychopath. So feedback is great, but again, I'm working on it, permanently blocked. Also, I just want to reiterate how important it is to utilize that block button, you guys. How are you going to allow yourself to feel a certain way because of somebody else's words or actions when the block button exists? You can literally control what you see and what you don't see. So why would you allow somebody to monopolize your phone screen, your personal space, wherever, when you don't have to? You are the gatekeeper of your own space, and I'm going to need all of you to hit that block button. So block up on the website again. What do I get on my Telegram not even 48 hours later? Yeah, you got it. If you guessed that he messaged me on my Telegram, bing, 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 you are correct. So now what? What does he think is going to happen? He basically sent me this long rant about how he doesn't know why I blocked him again. He doesn't understand why I would do that. I met him in person and he's such a great guy, right? He's nice and he's funny and he's social and he was talking to people and reaching out and networking and making friends. How could I block him again? How come I couldn't see the value that he brings? He was nice. He was polite. He was funny. He even won. He also ended the message with some weird cryptic, "I'm not going to let you and your attitude disrupt the great time that I had at your space and the friends that I made." Hello? Sir, the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, so not only after I blocked him twice with the different usernames for both of the accounts that he created on one website, I also blocked him on my Telegram because he thought that reaching out to me again would somehow give him a different answer to what he wanted. So yeah, that crazy definitely was way too long. Major red flags, not respecting boundaries, completely ignoring boundaries, lying about who he was, redoing profiles, deactivating, making new profiles, showing up after being told not to come. Bro, that's wild. This is wild. Huge red flags. Fuck that guy. Banned. Banned, banned, banned. Now, I'm going to talk about another guy. Ugh, you guys, why? Why are men men? Why are these men like this? So I was having anime night, right? Totally cool, totally fine, good vibes. This guy comes late, doors close at 12. He shows up at 11:45, right? Event closes at 2, let him know, all that stuff, whatever, right? So he shows up and then just sits on the couch. Doesn't talk to anybody, doesn't try to interact with anybody. Later on in the evening, I see that he's basically absorbed to other quiet, submissive men and is just talking at them. When I'm hosting, I do my best to talk to everybody. One, I like people. I'm super social. And two, I want to see who's coming. I want to see your vibe. I want to see how you behave, how you act, our chemistry, right? I want to see how you interact with people, your people skills. You can learn a lot from a very brief conversation with somebody. And I value that, right? Anyways, I see this man dominating this whole conversation with these two other men. These two other men look uncomfortable. They look like they don't want to be there. I can literally see the resting bitch faces on these other men's faces staring at this man that's just talking. I decide, as the host that I am, to interject and see if I can save these men from this other man because they clearly needed to be rescued. Ugh. Bruh. This motherfucker was talking about guns at an anime night party. Yeah, whole conversation about guns and like how we shouldn't have so many laws to prevent us from getting guns and just a whole bunch of wild shit that I had never expected to hear at a dungeon, specifically my dungeon, during fucking anime night. We were watching love anime, bro. We were watching like super cute anime. I can't remember what it is right now because my brain is just so overwhelmed with these two fucking idiots that I'm talking about. But like, why? Why? Why are you here? What is your goal? Like, what is your end game here? You're not talking to any of the girls. You're not talking to any of the femme presenting people. You're not talking to me. You've just been sitting on this couch and like keeping it warm and making sure it doesn't run away and just strapping in these two men next to you unwillingly. He couldn't even read the room. He doesn't understand that these men didn't even want to talk to him or that he was making these other two men uncomfortable, which is crazy. The fact that people have such a negative presence that they can't even see themselves as the negative presence or the problem, and they just keep going is beyond me. Like, you are completely incapable of reading the room. You have no idea that you are the problem, and it makes me think that you're delusional. Then I start trying to change the conversation because, again, literally, as soon as I come, one of the guys is like, I gotta go. I need to use the restroom, and runs away. So this man waited for me to interject in this conversation to escape. So now it's me and that guy. I'm trying to change the context of the conversation, bring it back to anime, ask him if he's local, if he's far, if he's been to events before, what's he into, if he's still exploring, just trying to get the lay of the land, trying to get to know him a little bit more because maybe I just came in at a wrong time. Sometimes we come into conversations and it's just not meant for us, or we just come at a weird place and then the context is weird. Well, no. My conversation with this man did not get better. He asked why I charged for the party. He asked why I charged for the event. He also went on to say, well, I thought there would be more sex going on here. I thought there was going to be people having sex and like we were going to have an orgy. Ugh. I cannot tell you, my jaw was dropped. The ignorance of this man. First of all, I don't have sex parties. Secondly, we don't have orgies, okay? I'm a BDSM person. I'm definitely sex positive, but like, I'm working on community and community building. A lot of people that come, they come to do different types of play. And yes, for some people, sex is on the table, and that's great. But an orgy, that means everybody's just involved. And that's not what happens. Okay, there are parties for that. There are places for that. He did not read the description. And I am very honest and open about the description. It is clear. It's clearly written. There's no confusion. But he chose to come to my venue and just ignore the event description and then expect to have sex with anybody and everybody he wanted. He then went on to say that it's absolutely unfair that people, women specifically, I'm not even going to say people, he complained that women charged for those types of parties. They charged for hotel parties. He complained that, well, if women like sex, why are they trying to charge me for the hotel room? Why are they making me wear condoms? Why are they telling me all of these things? This is insane. You mean to tell me that this man has been going to sex parties for who knows how long and he's not getting tested? So I asked him, hey, when's the last time you've been tested? And then he totally pivots the conversation and says, that's a different subject. We're not talking about my sex life. We're not talking about STIs. We're talking about how women have the audacity to charge for these types of parties when it should be free because they love sex. So if they love sex, why are they charging per person to come to the hotel room? Why are they having so many people come? It should be free. They like sex. So why are they charging for it? Oh my God. Oh my God, you guys. Fucking can't. Fucking cannot deal with this man. Ugh. The worst. The worst. It was one of the worst conversations I've ever had in my life. I really wanted to kick him out, but like, it's hard, you know, because technically he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't being physical. He wasn't being aggressive. He was just stating his opinion. And as different as our opinions are, as different as my views are from his views, in that moment, in that time, he was not a direct threat to anybody. He wasn't hitting anybody. He wasn't fighting anybody. He wasn't a problem. So I did not remove him from my space because, again, he did not pose a physical threat to people. He was not harassing people. And he didn't break any of the rules. He's just garbage. He's just trash. And I don't want him back at my events. He tried to approach me later in DMs about something, and I'm like, why would I even entertain an idea of you? Then he's like, why would you insult me? First of all, me telling you that I don't like the way you think, that I don't like your viewpoints, and I don't want to engage with you in any way, shape, or form is not being insulting. You want to be insulted? Oh, I can insult you. I can really insult you. But that's not what it was. Well, I've been here a lot longer than I thought, and I've only talked about 2 of the incidences I've encountered. But I got places to be, things to go. Tonight is horror movie trivia, and I gotta get ready. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me rant and vent about these fucking men and their shit behavior. Take care, be safe, drink water, and happy Halloween!